Welcome to Despicable Me Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today on the show, Prophets of Doom, Nostradamus, Case, and End Times.
Ooh, a cheerful topic.
Yeah. Well, you shared some pretty fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling stuff with us. We've got these transcripts looking at Nostradamus's 2025 predictions from the Interconnected Zone Tease and Stoic Insights.
Right. And another one, interestingly titled God, focusing more on 2024, maybe as a lead-up.
Exactly. And then there's a documentary transcript from NoteGPT that brings in other seers, too, like Edgar Cayce. So our mission today basically is to wade through all this, focus on what they're suggesting for 2025, and, look at how Nostradamus's past predictions have actually panned out.
Sort of the informed shortcut through the cryptic verses.
That's the idea, without the headache of trying to translate 16th century poetic French yourself.
Good luck with that. So maybe start with the man himself, Nostradamus.
Yeah, let's do that. Michel de Nostradame, born, 1503? Way back?
Right? Physician, astrologer. But it's the Prophétie, that book of poems, the quatrains, that everyone remembers. Almost 1,000 of them.
And written in the 16th century. It's kind of wild that we're still talking about them, isn't it?
It really is. From a historical angle, just their endurance is fascinating. Why these specific writings captured imaginations for, well, centuries.
Absolutely. And the quatrains themselves. Masterpieces of vagueness, you could say.
Huh. That's one way to put it.
It's like, when you try to remember a weird dream, it feels significant, but the details are all hazy.
Yeah, layers of possible meaning, but nothing concrete. He used that mix of languages, right? French, Latin, Greek.
Throws in obscure references, too. Just, to make it extra challenging.
Keeps us guessing.
Yeah.
But you see why some interpretations stick, like the famous one about King Henry II's death.
Oh, yeah, the jousting accident. The young lion overcoming the old one, piercing his eyes through a golden cage.
And the details, the lion emblems, the king being hit in the eye. It does sound eerily similar.
It does. Or it's a fantastic example of confirmation bias, right? Fitting the prophecy after the event happens.
Could be. It's like seeing shapes in clouds. Sometimes it looks exactly like a dragon.
And sometimes it's just, a cloud. I had this analogy. Trying to pin down Nostradamus's meaning feels like trying to assemble IKEA furniture with instructions written in, ancient Sumerian.
That's pretty good, actually, yeah. And that NoteGPT documentary transcript, it makes that exact point, doesn't it?
It does. That openness to interpretation is key.
His vagueness is almost his strength in a weird way.
Yeah.
It lets people apply the prophecies to new events constantly. And it mentions others, too, like Mother Shipton or Edgar Cayce.
Right. Mother Shipton, apparently she predicted men flying and women wearing trousers, which, for her time...
Pretty out there. And can see the sleeping prophet, thousands of readings in a trance state, health, world events.
Atlantis rising in 68, though? That one didn't quite happen.
No, slight miss there. But it shows this pattern, right? Some predictions seem startlingly specific, others are broad, and some just, miss the mark entirely.
Okay, so keeping that interpretive, slightly skeptical hat on, let's look at 2025.
All right. What's supposedly on the cards?
Well, the Interconnected Zone, TIZ, they flag something pretty dramatic. A huge volcanic eruption.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Pacific Ring of Fire, potentially. The quatrain mentions Earth will tremble around the new city, 2 great rocks will burn, sky will ignite over the ocean.
New city's vague, though. Could be anywhere, really.
Yeah.
But it does make you think of those supervolcanoes like Yellowstone or Campi Flegrei in Italy.
Exactly. Imagine your morning commute interrupted by a global ash cloud. Bit of a productivity killer?
Just a bit. And trying to claim that on insurance, Nostradamus said.
Yeah, good luck. Now, TIZ also points to political stuff. Big upheaval.
Okay.
A great empire being replaced. The interpretation leans towards, a shift in global power.
The rise of the East, maybe. China.
That's what they suggest, yeah. China's growing economic, military clout, potentially overshadowing the West. And Stoic Insights echoes that too.
Predicting China becomes the dominant global power, surpassing the U.S.
Like the student finally getting better grades than the teacher? Awkward.
Well, it certainly aligns with observable trends, doesn't it?
Right.
We are seeing that shift in economic weight and geopolitical influence. These power transitions, historically, they're often rocky periods.
True. And it's not just politics. Technology gets a mention, specifically AI.
Artificial intelligence in Nostradamus.
According to the TZ interpretation, yeah. A quatrain about a new sage with a lone brain.
Huh. Interesting take. Lone brain. Could potentially symbolize I suppose.
Given how fast AI is moving by 2025, who knows? Could mean huge changes also, job losses, ethical nightmares.
Usual concerns. Will the robot overlords handle customer service any better, though?
Probably not. Let's be real.
Fair point. The integration of AI is definitely accelerating. By 2025, yeah, we could see major shifts. Governance, ethics, jobs, big questions.
Then there's the environment. Both TZ and Stoic Insights mention predictions for, well, more doom and gloom.
Let me guess. Droughts, floods?
Yep. Increasing droughts, floods, famines. One quatrain says, the parched earth will grow even drier, rivers will mourn, and the fields will perish.
Grim.
And melting polar ice, rising sea levels, also possibly hinted at. Maybe we should stop arguing about thermostat settings and start designing arcs.
Well, sadly, that resonates with what climate science is projecting, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Increased frequency, intensity of extreme weather.
Mm-hmm.
That's already happening.
Yeah, unfortunately true. Okay, and you can't have a good prophecy deep dive without World War III.
Oh, lovely.
Tiz quotes a quatrain about two brothers torn apart by strife and a third great war starting when a big city is engulfed in flames.
Again, very vague. Two brothers, big city. Could apply to many conflicts.
True, but they link it to current global tensions. Russia, China, the West. It's like watching that reality show where everyone's just waiting for the big fight to break out.
It taps into existing anxieties, for sure. The geopolitical landscape is tense. But jumping from vague verses to global war, that's a big interpretive leap.
Definitely. What else? Oh, energy crisis. Guys again.
Running out of power.
Basically, a quatrain mentions lights will dim as resources fade, tied to, fossil fuels, potential conflicts over remaining resources.
Okay, so invest in candles. They'll be the new Bitcoin.
Maybe. Or just really good thermal underwear.
That prediction certainly reflects ongoing issues, right? Energy security, the transition to renewables, geopolitical factors. Those are real challenges.
Absolutely. Now, Stoic Insights adds a few more. Let's call them wild cards for 2025.
Okay, I'm braced.
A global rebellion of artificial intelligence.
Saying that, seriously.
Sounds like it. Also, the start of the Age of Aquarius bringing chaos.
Right, astrological shifts, always popular.
A great flood, maybe linked to the environmental stuff, a rupture with destiny, possibly a cosmic event.
A cosmic hiccup, okay.
A sleep pandemic.
A sleep pandemic? What even is that? Just everyone gets really tired.
I don't know, but finally, a prophecy I could maybe get behind.
Yeah, and what else?
Oh, a big jump in human lifespan. Like living to 150, 170 years old thanks to medical breakthroughs.
Wow, okay. That's a range from AI rebellion to living forever, almost. Imagine the retirement planning.
You'd have to endure so many more fashion cycles. And TikTok trends.
The horror. So that's Stoic Insights 2025, a mixed bag.
Definitely. And interestingly, that God transcript we mentioned, it focused more on 2024.
Right, the warm-up act.
Pretty much. Mentioned an earthquake in Japan, which kind of creepily did happen January 1st this year.
Whoa, okay. That's specific.
Yeah. Also famine, social unrest, maybe Putin's health declining, India rising globally, and even potential alien contact.
Aliens, too. Okay, 2024 was apparently busy, setting the stage for the 2025 Prophecy Palooza.
Seems like it. But, that Japan earthquake thing, it gives you pause, doesn't it?
It does. But it's crucial, like we said, to avoid just focusing on the apparent hits. How many other 2024 predictions from that source didn't happen? We need the full picture.
Yeah.
Selective memory is powerful with prophecies.
Good point. And the NoteGPT documentary brings us back to that, reminding us about interpretation and about other seers.
Right, Nostradamus wasn't alone. Mother Shipton, Edgar Cayce.
It puts him in context, shows this long history of people trying to predict the future using all sorts of methods.
And highlights that enduring human fascination with what's coming next.
So after diving into all this prophetic soup for 2025, what should people take away?
Good question. It's a real mix, isn't it? Potential disasters, natural and man-made, political shifts, tech jumps, some really bizarre stuff like sleep pandemics.
Yeah, and while the historical accuracy is, let's say, highly debatable.
Understatement.
These predictions definitely tap into our anxieties, don't they? Our uncertainties about the future.
They absolutely do. The fact we still talk about them centuries later says a lot about our need to find patterns, to feel like we have some grasp on what's ahead. Even if it's through a very hazy 16th century lens, they act like a mirror, maybe a distorted one, reflecting our current fears and hopes.
Okay, well, that was certainly a deep dive into the cryptic, sometimes confusing, sometimes oddly specific world of Nostradamus and what some interpretations say might be coming in 2025.
We've covered potential volcanic party crashers,
Shifting global power plays,
AI that might be our savior or our overlords.
plus the usual suspects, environmental worries, global conflict, all seen through these old poems.
And as we've stressed, remember that prophecies, even the ones that seem spooky in hindsight, are rarely clear roadmaps. Interpretation is everything.
Our sources even pointed out the future isn't necessarily set in stone. Maybe their value isn't literal prediction.
But more about making us think. Reflecting on where we are now, the paths we're on, the potential consequences. What parts of these 2025 ideas resonate most with you listening now based on the world today? That might be the interesting question.
Food for thought, definitely. Thanks for tuning in to the Despicable Maine Deep Dive podcast.
Always interesting discussions.
Remember, living in Despicable Maine is theft of your life. Now, go ponder whether to start prepping that bunker or maybe just, focus on finally perfecting sourdough. Either way, stay curious.